So these trash feats are low-key insane in D&D. Like, we're talking in the right circumstances, in the right build, or with the right big brain idea, this hot garbage can shine. Keen Mind. The Keen Mind feat lets you always find north and always know when the sun will set. These abilities are bad. However, you can also accurately recall anything you've seen or heard from the last month. Now, Phantom Rogues get an ability where they can gain any skill proficiency after a long rest. A ghost appears and teaches you all about animal handling, or whatever skill you want. The thing is, you lose that proficiency when you chat with another ghost gaining a different skill. But if you have Keen Mind, you can remember anything you've heard from the last month. So even though you're supposed to forget that knowledge when the ghost leaves, you should be able to still remember everything they told you for the next 30 days. By looping this, you could theoretically gain proficiency in every skill forever. Just chat with a different ghost each night and build on up your proficiencies. At level 11, you get reliable talent, and suddenly you can't roll lower than a 15 on any skill or tool check ever. Is this crazy? Yes, 100%. However, there are quite a few known ways to get proficiency in every skill by level 8, so this isn't that unusual. This is just the fastest way, but because it's not the only one, and it only works with one specific subclass, I don't actually think it's broken. Obviously, talk to your DM before you try this, but in reality, this just makes a pretty bad feat and a pretty underrated subclass work amazingly when put together, which sounds healthy for game diversity. Weapon Master. Okay, so Weapon Master is often argued to be the worst feat in the game. It gets you a +1 to either Strength or Dex, and then you get proficiency with up to 4 weapons of your choice. They also have to be martial or melee weapons, which means you can't even take siege weapon proficiency, so you can't have fun with trebuchets or catapults, which sucks. The problem here is that every class already gets proficiency in any weapons they might want to use. Plus, you can get proficiency with all weapons, and with medium armor, and a fighting style, and second wind, by just taking 1 level in Fighter. However, there is one circumstance where this feat is hilariously busted. This is a deep cut, but hear me out. Creation Bards at level 14 can create up to 6 tiny non-magical items with no restriction. Do you know what isn't a magical item? A fucking gun. Guns actually exist in D&D. There's a bunch in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but the really overpowered ones come in the form of futuristic weapons. You can create an antimatter rifle and 5 rounds of ammunition, which deals 6d8 necrotic damage per hit at a range of 360 feet. And thanks to Weapon Master, you are proficient with them, and you get a +1 to Dex to hit a little harder. If you're playing in a modern or futuristic campaign, this is insane. In this situation, it's better to take the feats rather than 1 level in Fighter, because you want to be speedrunning to that Creation Bard ability. Weapon Master lets you pick any 4 weapons you want. Grenades, for example, exist in the DMG. Congratulations, you can make them, and you have proficiency. Explosives, Uzis, shotguns, it's all available, and with free ammunition. Now, technically, there's nothing in the rules that says you have to have seen an item for a Creation Bard to make it. You could, rules as written, creation up an antimatter rifle in a normal fantasy campaign. It would be metagaming to the highest degree. Completely broken, and your DM would definitely ban it, and possibly punch you in the face. But if your DM is banning fucking Weapon Master for being broken, that's gotta be some kind of achievement unlocked, right? Who Wants to Be a Dungeon Master is brought to you by World Anvil.
There's 30 seconds on the clock. Speed round. What is the fastest way to kill a succubus? Poisoned lubricant. Correct. What is the punishment for attempting the peasant railgun? Death. In real life or in the game? Both. Correct. Your players are traveling through the city of Birkenstone on the way to Blightgarden when they encounter a chronomancer who shifts time forward 30 days for every 17 days that passed on the original trip. Assuming the Taraski's moving at 11 miles an hour.
Stop! I have no idea.
Ooh, incorrect. I'm afraid the right answer was, hold up, let me just check my World Anvil alternate timeline.
World Anvil is the ultimate world-building platform, the perfect tool for creating and managing your campaign no matter the detail. With the Chronicles feature, you can connect timelines and maps together, giving a visual representation of events in your world. You can even have an alternate timeline for NPCs, keeping track of events beyond the party and keeping them secret until the big reveal. Use code D&D Shorts at checkout for an incredible 40% off a yearly membership. Link in description. Athlete. Athlete is a bad feat. It says you can stand up from being prone with only 5 feet of movement, climbing doesn't cost you extra movement, and you can take a long jump or a high jump after moving only 5 feet, not 10. Yeah, I've played D&D for years, and none of these things have ever come up. Unless you're pulling off the double dive bomb combo. 1. Be a level 6 flying race Eagle Totem Barbarian. 2. Position yourself above your target, let's say 40 feet. 3. Fall on them. They make a DC 15 dex save if they even saw you coming, and you split any fall damage you would have taken when you hit them. That's 2d6 bludgeoning each, but rage means yours is halved, and then you both fall prone. 4. Stand up with 5 feet of movement. #athlete. 5. Attack your prone enemy at advantage and then use your second attack to grapple at advantage. 6. Bonus action dash 30 feet into the air carrying your enemy. 7. Drop them and then let yourself fall on them again. They take more fall damage and then you hit them again. 8. Stand up from prone again with your final 5 feet of movement. #athlete. That's 41 average damage and your enemy is left prone, ready for you to attack at advantage again when the surprise round is over. And of course, the damage skyrockets when you fall from 200 feet in the air. Because you're an Eagle Barbarian, you can see clearly for up to a mile, even in dim light, so setting this up is easier than you might think. Just imagine walking along and then a screaming barbarian falls on your head, dealing 10d6 and then suplexing you repeatedly while you're surprised. It's stylish as fuck, and it's the only build that can actually weaponize yourself as fall damage, all thanks to Athlete. But aside from this incredibly specific combo, the Athlete feat is pretty much trash. Unless you're a centaur who wants to climb trees, never take it. Dragon Fear. Dragon Fear is a racial exclusive feat, available only to Dragonborn. It gives you a +1 to strength, constitution, or charisma, which is pretty good. But remember, we are giving up a +2 in any stat just to take this feat, so it needs to be good besides that. The main price here is that Dragon's Breath lets you trade a use of your breath weapon attack to roar instead. When you roar, all creatures within 30 feet of you need to make a wisdom saving throw or else be frightened for 1 minute, but they can repeat the save anytime they take damage. The problem is, this feat just isn't worth it. If you're a spellcaster who wants to do this, you need to get up close and personal with your enemies, which you do not want to be doing. And if you're a martial character, you're trading your entire action and a bunch of damage just to maybe make some people scared of you. But as of October 2021, this feat is insane. Firstly, we're going to be the new Fizzband's Gem Dragonborn. Now, instead of using an entire action just to roar, you can do it in place of 1 attack. That means if you have extra attack, you can roar and then attack again on the same turn. Secondly, we're going to be an Oath of Conquest Paladin. At 7th level, you get the feature Aura of Conquest, meaning any creature within 10 feet of you that's frightened cannot move. Their movement speed becomes 0. This means you can barrel into a group of enemies, roar, and watch as they all crap themselves with fear and freeze in place. But it gets better. That was 1 attack. You have another, which you can use to shove. There's a contested skill check, and your target is frightened, so they have disadvantage, which means you're almost definitely gonna win. They are now prone, bowing before you, and because their movement speed is 0, they can't stand up. Remember, you do need to have some movement speed to stand up from being prone. They are now trapped, and because you didn't technically deal any damage, they never got a chance to break the save on being frightened. Now, your friends can walk over and use their turn to tie them up, or make a load of attacks at advantage, or pull a bag of devouring over their head for an instant kill. Now, Conquest Paladins do get this kind of ability through their channel divinity, but that's only a 1 per day use. At level 7 with this feat, you can pull a fear effect out 4 times per long rest, 5 times by level 9. And because you're taking the attack action when you do the roar, if you have the Shieldmaster feat, you can potentially push another enemy prone as your bonus action. This is already amazing, but it gets even better if you activate your flying form and go up to an airborne enemy in the sky. Then you roar at them, their movement speed becomes 0, and they just fall out of the sky, taking a ton of damage when they slam down to earth. Without the new Dragonborn rules, or on any other build in the game, this feat is kind of a trap. It's just not as good as the other options out there. But on a Gem Dragon Oath of Conquest Paladin, it is devastatingly strong, incredibly unfair, and hilariously fun. Dwarven Fortitude. Okay, so we have another racial feat. Dwarves only. Dwarven Fortitude says, whenever you take the dodge action on your turn, you can roll 1 hit dice, add your constitution modifier, and regain that many hit points. points. Basically, you trade your whole action to dodge and regain maybe 5 to 8 hit points depending on your class. Or you could have just downed a potion of healing for 2d4 plus 2 hit points, which most DMs let you do as a bonus action, and taken another better feat. Basically, it's just not worth taking a feat to be able to do this, except there's one build which breaks it completely. Firstly, shout out to monks and rogues who can dodge as a bonus action. Regeneration every turn is pretty sweet, and rogues and monks dodge all the time anyway. This is just free real estate. That makes a bad feat usable, but the real broken effect here is to combo this with Sorcerers. You see, Sorcerers can get an uncommon item called the Bloodwell Vial, which gives you a +1 to your spell attack rolls and spell save DC. More importantly though, anytime you roll a hit die while holding the vial, you regain 5 sorcery points. That is crazy. It was intended to be used only during a short rest, because that's normally the only time you can roll hit dice. But now you can do this anytime you take the dodge action. Just remember that the Bloodwell Vial can only be used like this once per dawn. The best part of this is you can use some of the sorcery points you just gained back to fire off a quicken spell as your bonus action. That means you're not losing any damage output by doing this mid-combat. It's basically free from an action economy perspective. Also, you're still dodging, so you get the advantage on dex saves and you're less likely to get hit next turn. At level 5, this is doubling your available sorcery points every day. Alternatively, you can swap those 5 sorcery points into a 3rd level spell slot, and a free fireball is a free fireball. Remember, the max level 20 final sorcerer ability only gets you 4 sorcery points on a short rest. This gets you 5 as an action, and you dodge, and you regain some hit points. Busted. But wait, did you ever want a pet zombie Tarrasque? This month's issue of the DM's Secret Weapon introduces new rules to D&D, allowing you to reanimate dead creatures as undead pets. There are zombie buffs, zombie penalties, and new super zombie abilities for DMs to give to boss monsters, like creating a zombie kraken. You can get all of that, as well as hundreds of pages of new races, subclasses, beautiful maps, and full ready-to-play adventures simply by supporting the channel on Patreon, just by clicking up here or down there. Also, remember to like and subscribe, check out other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time.